Hi guys. So you're actually getting another video out of me today, and it's probably going to be a thing for the next couple of days. But the thing that I have to stress at this point, and stress will be something that'll be coming up in a few days' time, is that this video, despite the length of this article, this one is gonna be relatively short, and you're going to understand why in a few moments' time. So, Chris and hypocrisy. You're all just immature, naive, condescending, soulless monsters. You don't care about others, you only care about yourselves, you only care about getting your own laughs and kicks because you don't have your own social life. Chris described, and now you may argue Chris was saying this in the Green County conspiracy video where Chris genuinely believed there was a plot to kick Chris all the way back to Ruckersville when Chris claimed to be just fine in Manchester, or in Orange County. Was it Orange County? I honestly don't know, but yeah, thinks that but the problem is that, well, Chris says that, but Chris doesn't say he's better because this, that, and the other. In fact, Chris doesn't do anything whatsoever to prove people wrong. But let's roll. Hypocrisy is the act of claiming to have beliefs, opinions, virtues, feelings, qualities, or standards that one does not actually have. Chris is an accomplished hypocrite, holding others to standards that he himself does not live up to. This is possibly due to the fact that he's incapable of serious introspection and self-examination due to his autism, but on a more self-inflicted level, his ego. Chris believes that he is a blameless, holy creature that is practically perfect in every way. However, he sees plenty of flaws in the world around him that cause him stress. He blames all of his problems on external factors like trolls, homosexuals, conspiracies, or the entire male population. In the past, he's faulted the police, store managers, Mary Lee Walsh, and more security guards for complications during his love quest. When Chris can't fault other people for his problems, he relies on autism and stress as fallback excuses. He's strongly opinionated and drunk on his internet fame, so he sees himself as a role model that can change the world. He doesn't necessarily want to change it for the better. He wants to change the world into one where everyone conforms to his worldview and showers him with praise so he'll never again have to feel uncomfortable, suffer any inconveniences, or be forced to actually put effort into anything whatsoever. This means arrogantly pointing out the sins of others but never answering to his own, which leads to Chris doling out advice to others that he should be heeding for himself. Chris's mailbag answers are particularly rich sources of hypocrisy, where he readily gives advice to people that he himself will never follow. Now, what you're going to be seeing right now. Now, this is the contents, guys, and this is why I'm going to keep things relatively short, because these are all examples of Chris actually, going back on his word. From "you grow up," spamming actual hate speech like "get a job," "these buses are full of nutty slow in the minds," "I'll pray for you to open your mind." This is the thing, is that this is everything you're going to be seeing here. And one thing you're going to sort of be noticing in some of these, but not all of them, is that a lot of them have been brought about by the fact that Chris, is probably too stupid to see the fault in his own actions. And why is that such an issue? Well, because how on earth are you meant to be taking anybody this seriously if, Chris has no concept whatsoever of not post-cognition, but although post-cognition is something that is absolutely applicable, but it's the fact that Chris has, not even post-cognition or precognition. It's the fact that Chris simply does not think before he does anything. And you may have heard me say that during Chris's the comprehensive history series, is that there comes a point in about part 68 or part 67 where it does become obvious that Chris starts to lose the power of rational thought or logic. And then I realized this is probably something that literally went almost to the very, very beginning. And well, it's kind of obvious. But then again, it doesn't even stop at that. It goes into like really messed up territories. Like, I will record the whole thing and upload it onto RedTube. This apparently is Chris saying he was going to hide a camera when having sex with somebody, and saying they were going to upload it up onto the internet, specifically onto RedTube. I think that was said back in 2009. Who in 2009 was even using RedTube at that point? Come on now. And, well, again, what you might be noticing is this little thing like Chris is a hypocrisy on things like maturity, workmanship, other people with mental disabilities, tolerance, homosexuality, transphobia, Chris's own creations, privacy, slander, Alec Bensaliri, women, capital punishment, mature content, leaving the internet forever, romantic rivalries, flamboyancy. I really feel offended when they get so flamboyant with their ways. Law, orphantarianism, obesity, blue arms, memes, maturity, spite, sexual misconduct, kindness, finances, dimensions, and forgiveness. Now, I'm just going to leave these ones up here, because if there's any ones you actually specifically want to check out for yourselves, just so you can say, wow, Chris is kind of a dick for doing that, then I suppose it's easy pickings, really, because you don't really have to go that far or really go that deep. But with that being said, all of this could have been avoided if literally Chris thought about what he was doing before he actually did it. And this was, you could go as far back as the year 2000 for this. So Chris has been making an ass out of himself for 25 years. Sad but true. But before we leave, let's just go on to Chris and hypocrisy. Well, on hypocrisy, as she says. A hypocrite, an adjective. 1. To be of a belief while not upholding that belief. 2. A total liar. 3. An untrue fan. Example, when the Solitude fan left Solitude for a newer, badly drawn thing, after having said what they always enjoy Solitude forever, is a hypocrite among the truest and loyalist Solitude fans. This is Chris, by the way, on what it means to be a hypocrite. Chris will literally carry Solitude to the very grave, if you will. In the mailbag questions, Chris was asked to define hypocrite. His answer shows that he barely understands the concept. Thinks it's some kind of an insult like naive or benevolent, and somehow refers to a fan's level of devotion. Chris's first definition is very, very broad, and could be used to describe hypocrisy, one's stated beliefs being in conflict with one's actions. I suppose, when you think about it. But could also be used to describe a general lack of enthusiasm. Under Chris's definition, a homophobe who doesn't take drastic measures to eradicate homosexuality would be a hypocrite. Okay. Chris channeling Pol Pot, it would seem. His second definition is just hyperbole. In the same way someone would throw around fascist when not using it to describe an extreme right-wing authoritarian nationalist. Chris's third definition is more of a failed example to describe a hypocrite, and more describes Chris's "if you're not now, you never were" attitudes towards fandom. In Chris's mind, he must enjoy all Sonic the Hedgehog games regardless of quality and where, and display Pokemon merchandise well past an age where that would be considered socially acceptable. Because Chris enjoyed Sonic and Pokemon when he was younger, he's not allowed to move on, grow up, and find other more adult interests. Like actually not going to Goodwill for all your clothes, but then again, that's more tied to a different issue. Chris then went on to rail against Asperchu, and refused to acknowledge the dozens of mailbag letters pointing out examples of Chris's hypocrisy, double standards, and contradictions. And believe it or not, that's actually really, that's all we have time for today. Now, it may seem as though we are cutting this a little bit short, and it is a bit of a shorter one to talk about, but the important details are this. If Chris had spent more time actually trying to circumnavigate a way out of situations by not making an ass out of himself, Chris should have been taking advantage of that from the very first moment people were saying things about him. Like, I have people saying bad things about me, actually quite a lot more than you think about it. But unless they actually do anything about it, unless they actually act upon the things they accuse me of, then they literally can't, then what is there to do? I have never once tried to challenge somebody on the things that they said about me because, well, it's kind of actually been proven through many, many years through what other people do, is that if you poke the bear, you don't poke it back, because guess what? Things can get out of control and a bit shaky in many different ways. And because I'm not prepared to give people like that exactly what they want, because I know fine well they're trolling me, then they've got nowhere else to go, and they will completely drop whatever they were wanting out of me. Again, it's very simple. Just say, you know, there's nothing to it, or even don't say anything at all. But listen to what they do say, and evaluate yourself from there. If the ball is in your court, and I will leave you all of that to see whether the ball will be in your court as well, and I will see all of you guys again later.